Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go live here and we are going to hop in 2 underdog drafts right this second. Okay, we are going to be picking at one in one of these bad boys. So we are going to be able to get that elite level quarterback. I may end up going Jalen Hurts if I'm going to be honest with you. And then in the other one, we're going to be picking at 12. So should be a very interesting live stream, seeing that we have just 2 completely different strategies, access to 2 completely different set of players. So let's go ahead and let's get our first pick off the board. We're going to go ahead. We are going to take Jalen Hurts here at the 101. Now, what's going to make this interesting, of course, is this is going to be right before the NFL draft. All of a sudden, we now have significantly more information about where these players are most likely going to be going. Not only do we have that information, but at the same time, I mean, we are currently in a spot where you could see Jameson Williams flying down draft boards, Amon-Ra St. Brown flying up draft boards, the running backs in Detroit moving. I mean, even a Jared Goff being moved in this draft. So I'm excited to see where everything looks now that we have this suspension to Jameson Williams and some more rookie information. But let's see. We got Brett out here, Suzuki, Cool Bowser, J-Wall, Crazed. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out and hanging out with us in this live stream. I really do appreciate it. And of course, if you haven't done so already, go down there, drop a like on this stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you play fantasy football and want to get in a draft today and you're wondering how we are drafting multiple teams at the same time, this is Underdog. Okay, on Underdog, it's going to be best ball. So that means there is no time commitment at all during the season. And with there being no time commitment at all during the season, you are able to go through, you're able to draft. I mean, I drafted over 700 of these teams last year, ended up winning over 150,000, which was pretty damn nice. But you can find the link to Underdog both in the comment section and the live chat. And when you sign up with promo code FLOCK, you're going to get your deposit match dollar for dollar up to 100. So make sure you're taking advantage of that. Okay. But Kate says, yo, Mason, I might have missed it. Are you doing a stream for the NFL draft? You definitely missed it, my friend. Not only will I be doing a stream for the NFL draft, we'll be at the NFL draft. We'll be on the red carpet. I will be interviewing these guys, and it will be live streamed on this channel. It couldn't have happened without all of you. So again, thank you so damn much for everything that you've given me over the past few years. I literally would have never in a million years guessed that we were going to have something like this happen. It's all because of you. I really do want you to share the moment with us. So please make sure you're not going to be missing that. Please make sure you're there. Noah out here, happy to see you, my man. River says, is this a new tournament? No. So Underdog is going to be launching the big tournaments right after the NFL draft. They will launch Best Ball Mania, which last year, I think Best Ball Mania was a $10 million prize pool, right? Underdog's way bigger this year than they were last year as well. So if they went for a $10 million prize pool guaranteed last season, I don't even know what it's going to be this year. I'm really excited to see the official announcement, but these are actually private drafts. Okay, so swing this back around. Okay. So keep in mind, this is the team that we started off at 12. We go to Deshaun Watson, Jamar Chase here. Honestly, I don't think there are too many things that we can even be talking about where we go Deshaun Watson and Jamar Chase. I mean, Deshaun Watson definitely is not in the same tier of guys like Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. But we have to go ahead and we have to take a quarterback in this Superflex draft, or things are going to be painful when we come back around in round 3 and round 4. So even if we're seeing a significant teardrop there, we kind of have to go through and just take the QB. I don't really think we have another option. Hayes ID, a member of the flock for so damn long, says, huge congrats on the red carpet opportunity. Thank you, my man. Seven Silver says, hey, Mason, so does this mean you made it? Definitely not. I will not have made it until I am at the NFL draft and not interviewing the players getting drafted, but instead an NFL team finally sees my talent and they decide to draft me themselves. That's how we'll know we made it, when we're actually drafted, my friend. Now, let's see what we are going to be doing here at the 2-3 turn. I mean, Garrett Wilson goes directly off the board. Zach takes Garrett Wilson pretty much every chance that he gets. So figured maybe in some of these you could get Garrett Wilson falling to you in the third round. He doesn't even want to take that risk. He wants to just go through and take Garrett Wilson at 19 sack. I think you're crazy, my man. I think you got to be going Stephon Diggs there. Kate says, who do you think is a better bounce back season, Watson or Russ? I'm definitely willing to bet on Deshaun Watson over Russell Wilson. Okay, Stephon Diggs goes 21. So obviously when we take Jalen Hurts round 1, what we're looking for is A.J. Brown at the 2-3 turn. Usually A.J. Brown goes in this range, but it's usually to the team that drafts Jalen Hurts, so we should be able to get him. A.J. Brown goes off the board, so we're actually not going to get A.J. Brown here. So does Kirk Cousins. And with this being on Underdog, a league where we're only having to go through and start, we'll take Bijan. We're going to get to talk to the man on Thursday, so let's go ahead and let's draft him here. But with this being the Superflex draft on Underdog, we'll get in some more one quarterback drafts very soon. Don't you worry about that. But you only have to start 2 wide receivers on a week-to-week basis. So there, instead, I think we are going to go ahead. We are going to take the 2 running backs. Whereas if it was a one quarterback draft on Underdog and you have to start 3 wide receivers, we would mix in a wide receiver there. But yeah, no, it's just a little bit of a different format on this one. Okay. 7 Silver says, unbelievable. Can't wait to be there for it. Yes, yeah. And I am really excited. We're working our butts off to make sure that it's going to be a very good live stream. Keep in mind, I don't know if anybody on YouTube's ever live streamed from the NFL red carpet. I don't really know how it's going to go. Not only do I not really know how it's going to go, but okay, real quick. We are on the clock. Do we go with the Jets? Yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll take the New York Jets here. Zach took Garrett Wilson in the middle of the second round in our other draft, and we're actually going to get Garrett Wilson here at pick 36. So I'll be very excited about that Garrett Wilson selection, but yeah. We're trying our best to make sure that the live stream that we'll have for y'all is the highest quality possible. There is a lot going into it. There are so many things to stress about. One thing that you could help me out with a ton, obviously not only tuning into that live stream and experiencing it with us, but if you have some questions that you want me to ask these guys, let me know, okay? I mean, I have some things on my mind, but I don't know. I've never been a reporter before. I've never been out there interviewing an NFL player, and we are going to be doing it with the highest stakes possible. We're going to do it live. We are going to do it with equipment we've never used before. So it is pretty stressful. So if you can send me some questions that you want me to ask those NFL players, I would definitely appreciate it. But yeah, let's just flip back and forth between these. I think that we are in a pretty good spot if you're looking at both teams. I mean, picking at 12, it is incredibly difficult in a Superflex Underdog draft, just given the fact that we don't have access to the elite level QBs. And if we really wanted to take a quarterback there at the 3-4 turn, it feels like we'd be reaching for a decent amount of players that honestly are kind of the same as what we'll be looking at the 5-6 turn. So it's like we can't really take 2 quarterbacks early on. Deshaun Watson's really the only guy that we're going to be able to get. And it puts us in such a disadvantage if we're going to be comparing, say, our 3 first players out the gate in Deshaun Watson, Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson, who in my mind, best players available on the board, versus what you have at the 101 or the 102. Like Deshaun Watson, Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson versus Patrick Mahomes, Stephon Diggs, Austin Eckler. It's the Patrick Mahomes side by a mile. So I would say a big thing about these super flex drafts on Underdog in particular is so much about it actually comes down to where you are going to be selecting and if you are lucky enough to get the number 1 overall pick like we do. So we're able to take Jalen Hurts here. Okay. Recife says, Mason, where do you think Jackson Smith and Jigbo will land? I think that we're going to see him in the middle teens. I think we have him going to either Houston at 12 or the Green Bay Packers, New England Patriots in the middle of round 1. I mean, I think Jackson Smith and Jigba is such a good wide receiver. It's hard to imagine that he falls outside the top 16. And if you're looking at Las Vegas sportsbooks, they're telling us that he's going to be the number 1 guy off the board. Mark Ward out here. Happy to see you, my man, saying drop that like. We have Peanut Butter Waivers as well, another regular. So thank y'all all so much for coming out. Colin is out here, another big-time member of the flock. Now, Olave Metcalf going off the board 42-43. And let me know, do y'all like this camera compared to our other one? I know that's a little random. I know it's not that big of a deal, but we got a new phone, and apparently the new phones can actually hook up and be used as a camera. So usually I use this bad boy here, like a real one, but we just hooked our phone up to this and it kind of looks decent. So let me know what you're thinking. Would you rather be working with the phone here or the camera? Okay. Now, Ramondre Stevenson going off the board 51. Jordan Love goes 50. Come on. We just kind of want to see some quarterbacks make it back to us. I mean, if we're going to be looking at the guys that are most likely going to be there, obviously we're really hoping someone for we're hoping for Bryce Young. That's what we're really wanting. Hogginson goes off the board 53. Margaward says, looks good to me. Morgan says, what phone? Essentially, I'm recording on a phone right now. Do you like the way this camera looks? I'll expand it real quick so you can see it. Does this look better, or does the usual setup look better, or is it exactly the same? Okay, so we're 6 picks away here. We have back-to-back tight ends going off the board with Andrews and Hawkinson. Oh, we are on the clock with this one. Thank God we swung back over. I think that we are going to lock and load Matthew Stafford for one of these selections. And then our other guy, we'll go ahead. We'll take Ramondre Stevenson. So if this was a tournament draft on Underdog, I would be taking Kyler Murray over Matthew Stafford. The reason we're going to go Stafford over Kyler here is because this is a private draft. We don't have the incentive to have the elite level ceilings in weeks 15, 16, 17. It's going to be cumulative scoring from weeks 1 through 17. And a player like Kyler Murray that is going to miss a large chunk of the season with his injury is going to be significantly less appealing in a format like that. Okay. So let's move this down. CJ Stroud off the board. Kenny Pickett goes as well. So, you know I want to do it. I am going to do it. He's our guy. Okay. I don't care if people give us crap for it. Well, we'll take 2 quarterbacks here. I don't think it's a bad thing at all to be taking 2 QBs. Obviously, Calvin Ridley is an exciting player, but when we only have Deshaun Watson there in a super flex format, I mean, it's hard to talk yourself out of just going through and grabbing 2 guys that have a lot of fantasy football upside. I don't really know if Trey Lance or Anthony Richardson will be great from a real life perspective, but from a fantasy football perspective, I'm pretty confident in them just because the rushing upside that they have. Jeep Guy says, regular camera is better, but this isn't bad at all. Excited for your draft day interviews. Thank you, my man. Morgan says, looks good. Is it the iPhone 14? The video quality is so close to DSLR these days. Yeah, this is iPhone 14 Plus. We actually got it just because we are going to the draft and we're going to be live streaming from the phone. And also, like, if I'm going to be going places from now on, like if we're going to the Super Bowl, if we're going to the NFL draft, maybe going to games during the season, it'll be nice to take like a phone and a laptop and actually have capabilities. But it's good to know that y'all prefer the camera quality. So when we are here, we will definitely be using the camera. Okay. Okay. Thank you for letting me know, because my mind kind of looked the same. So if y'all think the camera's better, we'll definitely do the camera. Now, so we have not taken a wide receiver through the first 5 rounds here. And I think we've talked about this more than enough, but I mean, you don't really need to just continue to beat a dead horse in a 1 quarterback underdog draft. You have to start 3 wide receivers each and every week. And there you are going to be highly, highly, highly incentivized to go wide receiver over running back the way the rest of the board will shake up. But specifically in this draft, where you change one of the wide receiver slots to super flex, that need to go through and go so heavy at wide receiver is not there anymore. There, I am willing to go ahead. I'm willing to grab some running backs early. Okay, Jeep Guy says, I like how you can bring up your comments on the screen now. Good upgrade. Thank you, my man. Peanut Butter Waver says, London does seem to be overtaking Watson right now. I mean, I definitely think Drake London is a way better player, right? I mean, if you're looking at Drake London, the prospect coming out of USC, or not only just looking at him as a prospect, but if you're also looking at Drake London's market share numbers year 1, like Drake London is a phenomenal, phenomenal wide receiver. Now, the issue is the offense he's playing in is so damn bad that it's making Kyle Pitts look like a bum It made Drake London score 0 fantasy points year one, even if he was one of the best rookie wide receiver season, 21-year-old rookie wide receivers of all time, if you're looking at market share numbers in particular. So like London versus Christian Watson, I think if you're playing in Dynasty, it is very, very easy to go Drake London and bet on the long-term talent. If you are playing in a redraft league, however, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because obviously for 2023, the situation will be better for Christian Watson. Misa says, is this your new career path over your major? Yes, this is my full-time job, 100%. Okay, wait. Are we talking Watson or Amon-Ra St. Brown here? Obviously, St. Brown's in a completely different tier, if that's what we're talking about. Gucci Broomstick says, not sure how valid this is as a Packers fan, but Jordan Love is extremely underrated and has serious upside as a quarterback. In my mind, I am not willing to go all in on Jordan Love. Like if you're looking at the price point of Jordan Love, like pick 50 or getting some rushing quarterbacks later on in the draft, I would probably take the discount on some of those rushing QBs such as Lance and Richardson. The thing with Love is he is such a wild card. I almost want to view him as like a rookie QB, right? I almost want to view him as like Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. And it's not like Jordan Love has rushing upside either. So if you don't really have rushing upside with Jordan Love, and in my mind, he's like a complete wild card, I don't want to act like he's a bad pick there, but he's just not someone I've been taking a ton. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to take two guys easily here. We're going to go ahead. We are going to take the combo of Jimmy Garoppolo as well as George Kittle. Don't have to be thinking about this too much. I will reiterate, if it was a one quarterback underdog draft where you're having to start 3 wide receivers each and every week, as well as if it was a tournament draft on underdog, you have to slam in wide receivers way, way earlier than this. This is a super flex contest where you only have to start 2 wide receivers, and it is a private draft where we are not chasing the absolute highest ceiling from a week-to-week basis, even though it's best ball. So, of course, I need to reiterate this just because I know some people won't have that understanding. Adjust to the format, adjust to the contest that you're drafting in, and I think we've done a decent job in that one. So let's swing this back over. Okay. So with this team, we have Deshaun Watson, Trey Lance, Anthony Richardson at quarterback. Running back, we have Breece Hall. We have Jamar Chase as well as Garrett Wilson at wide receiver as well. Okay, so, I mean, we're kind of fine top to bottom. I don't necessarily think we have any massive holes. Of course, there are definite positions that we can look to address here. Okay, I think we have the 3 guys that I am wanting. We'll see if they end up making it to us, but yeah, I have the 3 guys I want in my mind. Zach says, only bigger Trey Lance fan than you is me. I mean, I'm really hoping our guy does something. I am really hoping he does. Now, Jamir Gibbs goes off the board 82. Tyler Lockett goes. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Kyle Pitts and Michael Pittman. These were 2 of the names that we were going to be looking at. Dameon Pierce was that other guy. I'm very interested to see how far Jameson Williams falls in this draft. So let's go ahead. Let's show off both draft boards in their entirety right now. And hopefully we don't get made fun of too much here. But at quarterback on this one, we have Watson, Lance, Anthony Richardson. Receiver, we have Chase, Garrett Wilson, Michael Pittman. Running back, we have Breece Hall. We have Kyle Pitts at tight end as well. Going over to this team here, at quarterback, we are going to have Jalen Hurts, Matthew Stafford, Jimmy Garoppolo. At running back, we have Eckler, Bijan, Ramadre. And at tight end, we have George Kittle. So we have yet to hit the wide receiver position in this league, which I know looks crazy, but we've already discussed there's a clear reason why. So Montgomery going off the board to pick 80. I know we talked about this a little bit, and maybe I'm reaching, maybe I'm stretching just because we don't have enough news to work off during the year. But I honestly think that the suspension of Jameson Williams will have a negative impact on David Montgomery, and that I think it does hurt the Detroit Lions offense. I think we're most likely going to see the Detroit Lions struggle to move the ball down the field in the first 6 games in comparison to what they would have done if Jameson Williams, if they had that field stretching wide receiver was on the field. So with Montgomery, I honestly probably would prefer Dameon Pierce over him. With Dameon Pierce, you also at the same time don't have DeAndre Swift in your same backfield, but maybe I am overthinking it, obviously. I mean, we just have no news this time of the year. Dylan says, dude, I'm so impressed and proud of your hustle, man. Constant effort and amazing quality. Congrats on getting to the red carpet. event. Gonna be incredible, man. Keep it up, Mason. No, thank you so much, my friend, for supporting us. And thank you for everything. And like I said, there is a 0% chance we could ever go to the NFL red carpet if it was not for y'all. You are 100% of the reason that we are there, and I owe you everything. So thank you so much for literally everything. There's not much I can do. There's not much I can say. Thank you. It's going to be awesome on Thursday. I really hope that you're going to be there to share it with us. Brian says, have you ever drafted more than 2 boards at once? Oh yeah, definitely. Like if you are looking at me during the season, or like if you're looking at me right before the year at the gym, I'll be on the Stairmaster and I'll have like 4 underdog drafts going at once. Like I am a madman. Now on the live stream, at the very most, we'll do 2, because whenever we're live streaming, it's a much more difficult than just sitting on your phone and going there and nailing some of these underdog drafts. I will say, it's fun doing 2 on the stream. It's just stressful. Like we're having to bounce back and forth, making sure that we're not auto picking. We're having to make sure we're reading the chat. We have to make sure that the stream looks good and everything. It's very difficult. Shredrick says, love with Christian Watson over Bryce or CJ Stroud with Adam Thielen or Robert Woods. The thing is, in my mind, is I think that Bryce Young is going to be a significantly better real-life NFL quarterback than Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young's going to be a significantly better real-life NFL quarterback than Jordan Love. Don't know what we said the first time, but hopefully we got that point across. I mean, if you're looking at Bryce Young, he's going to go number 1 overall. Yes, he'll probably struggle early on, and I do think that both Bryce Young and Stroud will probably struggle a little bit early on, considering the fact that they're going from having the best talent surrounding them in almost every game that they played to arguably having the worst talent surrounding them in almost every game that they play. So it is a dramatic, dramatic change. Okay. Now let's switch this over. Brock Purdy looks like he's falling. You know this is a Flock Fantasy Underdog draft if you have Brock Purdy falling. It ends up going off the board here, pick 92, but we're kind of needing some wide receiver help. If you're looking at our team, like we already have the 3 quarterbacks. We already have an elite tight end. We have 3 very strong running backs as well. So we're kind of wanting to start to hammer in a few of these wide receivers. Jameson Williams continuing to fall. And if this was a tournament draft on Underdog, I think we'd be very interested in going through and taking this quote unquote value with Jameson Williams. But with this being a private draft, honestly, I don't even know if we would take Jameson here. Okay, so yeah, we still have some time with that board. Okay, so we are going to go ahead. We are going to pass on Jameson Williams. We're going to take Mike Evans, and then between George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, I think we could kind of go back and forth between these names. We are going to go ahead. We are going to take George Pickens just based off of ADP, and it seems like we're going to be significantly less likely to have George Pickens fall to us like in the 10th round than we would have Deontay Johnson falling. So let's go ahead and let's just take Pickens. Even if I'm not a massive fan of the player, we need a wide receiver, and he should get targets this next year and going into year 2 in general. Love drafting wide receivers going into year 2. Now let's swing this back around. This is a team that kind of needs some running back help here. I mean, we only have Breece Hall at RB. At wide receiver, we have Chase, Garrett Wilson, and Michael Pittman. So I think we can go in a couple different directions. Javonte Williams would be a running back that I'd be very excited about if it was that tournament draft and we were trying to optimize for upside in weeks 15, 16, 17. With this being a private draft and it being cumulative scoring, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get excited about a player like Javonte Williams. So given those settings, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Tyler Algier, even if there's a massive risk that you may have Bijan Robinson going over to the Atlanta Falcons. We're also going to take James Conner here. But like I said, if it was a tournament draft where it's not going to be cumulative scoring weeks 1 through 17, and instead it's going to have that tournament weeks 15, 16, 17, there I would take Javonte Williams. This is just not the format for that. Peanut Butter Waiver says, I love Brock Purdy, but not in 2023. I mean, I don't think we need to talk about this anymore. Y'all know I'm not a Brock Purdy guy, but that's because I was dumb enough to put all our eggs in the Trey Lance basket, and it's very hard to get those eggs out of that basket at this point. Now, Zach Charbonnet goes pick 105. Javonte Williams, 104. I love this take. Gibbs is a better receiver than most of this year's incoming wide receiver class. I'm going to tweet something out here. Let me get a little spicy. I don't want to say most, but how many wide receivers would we say are better receivers than Jamir Gibbs? Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnston, Zay Flowers. Those are definitely better options than Jamir Gibbs at receiver. But can y'all fill me in? What other players do you think are better receivers than Jamir Gibbs in this draft class? Like I said, you have to give credit to the top. I would say 4 guys in JSN, Quentin Johnston, Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers. Is there anybody else at the wide receiver position you think is a better receiver than Zay Flowers? I'm sorry, than Jamir Gibbs. Kadar says, why are quarterbacks being drafted in the first round now? Houseways says, is it super flex? Yes, the answer is it's super flex, my friend. Peanut Butter Waivers says 3 to 4. Roshan, hey, trust me. I wish Roshan Johnson was a better wide receiver or a better receiving option than Jamir Gibbs. Trust me, I wish that was the case. Gucci Broomstick says Josh Downs shade. That's true. I would say Josh Downs is better than Jamir Gibbs at catching the football. So let me go through and tweet this out. The only players that are better receivers that are better. How do I word this? The only players that are better receivers than Jamir Gibbs if Jamir Gibbs played wide receiver, he would be the 4th or 5th best option in this class. Is that too hot? Is that too much of a spicy take? Here's what we usually do on Twitter. We'll go ahead. We'll send it out. We'll get the temperature gauge. We'll see how many people call us stupid within the first 30 seconds. And then we may delete. Who says, what about Devin H.N.? Devin H.N. weighs less than 180 pounds. No, thank you. Okay, so let's swing back around. Okay, hopefully, we are on the clock. We auto-drafted Mac Jones. That is not the best, but we can swing back around here, and we can take Jordan Addison. Okay, so, okay. Thank God we didn't get auto-drafted multiple times. I'm honestly fine with the auto-draft of Mac Jones at pick 120. Like, what's kind of funny about drafting in both of these at the same time is we can go through and compare where these players go in both drafts. Like, we here get Mac Jones pick 120 by accident, of course. He was an auto draft as our 4th quarterback off the board. But if we're going to go to the other draft and see where Mac Jones went pick 94 in this one. So definitely say Mac Jones has a cap ceiling on a week-to-week basis. You have no rushing upside. You have an offense that kind of wants to go through and run the football. But we have Ramondre Stevenson, so maybe we can make the argument with that team that we actually have the stack there. Now let's swing this back around. There is one player in particular that I'm really hoping we get. Let's see. So at quarterback with this team, we have Deshaun Watson, Trey Lance, Anthony Richardson. Running back, we have Breece Hall, Tyler Algier, James Conner. Receiver, we have Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson, Michael Pittman. Tight end, we have Kyle Pitts. Okay, A.J. Dillon goes pick 130. A.J. Dillon was going to be the guy that we were really hoping made it to us. Not the end of the world now that A.J. Dillon's off the board. I mean, we can always pivot elsewhere, but I definitely wanted A.J. Dillon there if we could have had him. Brian Robinson goes. That was the other running back that we were going to want. We have to take Elijah Moore here to stack up with Deshaun Watson. I don't really know if we have an option to do otherwise. We are going to go ahead. We're going to take Quentin Johnston here as well. Now, I think that this team probably needs a running back a little bit more than it does a wide receiver. But honestly, I think Quentin Johnston's just going to be the best player on the board there. I think people are getting a little too scared of Johnston and his profile. He's a wide receiver that breaks out as a freshman, that dominates as a sophomore, that declares as a junior. He's going to get the NFL draft capital. Those are the main boxes that we are looking for at the wide receiver position. So yeah, I'm completely fine to take Quentin Johnston, even though I know a lot of people at this point would prefer Zay Flowers over him. Okay. Mark Ward says, who would you rather have this year, Tyler Lockett or Michael Pittman? I would actually rather have Michael Pittman. And all last offseason, we were screaming how overrated Michael Pittman was. I thought it was crazy that people saw Matt Ryan going to Indianapolis and went, oh my gosh, Julio Jones scored a lot of points with Matt Ryan. That means Michael Pittman's going to score a lot of points with Matt Ryan. As if fantasy football works that way. I thought it was like the funniest thing I'd ever heard. Now I think you have probably a similar type of situation with whoever the quarterback will be this next season. It really can't be worse, right? It can't be worse than Matt Ryan was last year. Can't be worse than Sam Ehlinger was last year. And look at the difference in price. If you remember where Michael Pittman was going back last season, Michael Pittman was going as a top 10 wide receiver in every draft. Here he is significantly falling in both of these. Here we get Michael Pittman at pick 85. Like, in my mind, is there anything different about Michael Pittman this season compared to where he was a year ago? And I hated Michael Pittman in drafts last year. Hated it. Our biggest avoids in drafts were Michael Pittman, Cortland Sutton, as well as Mike Williams with their cost. But here we're getting him after Lockett, McLaurin, JSN, Keenan, London, Kirk, Ridley, Judy, Christian Watson, Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Deebo Samuel, Amari Cooper, DeAndre Hopkins, DK Metcalf, T. Higgins, Devonta Smith, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb, Stephon Diggs, Cooper Kupp, A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson. Here we're getting him as pretty much a wide receiver 3 in fantasy. Instead of having to draft him as a top 10 option, and in my mind, him being in kind of the exact same situation. So, given the absolute destruction for his price, I think this time Michael Pittman is very much worth the draft pick. Like, I'm willing to go through and draft Michael Pittman now. If you really like Lockett, keep in mind Lockett's been so damn productive over the past 3 years. I'm not going to fault you for it. One thing that I don't understand a ton is why Samaje Perine's been going so high in the tournament drafts on Underdog, right? I understand maybe in like a private draft like this, why you would go ahead and why you would take Samaje Perine, given the fact that, with Perine, he could be the starting running back for Denver at the beginning of the season with no Javonte Williams. This is cumulative scoring. We don't have to try to just go for weeks 15, 16, 17. So it's interesting to see him fall here in a private draft in comparison to where he goes in the tournament drafts. Because I think he actually is probably a better mold for a pick in this kind of format than he would be in a tournament. Yeah, Samaje Perine goes pick 140. If Perine was going to fall to us 144, I think it probably would have been the first time we've taken him all off season. Antonio Gibson goes 141. I need to keep my lips shut. I'm not saying what we're doing. I know the people watching this are in this live stream with us. KJ Osborne goes. Our plan was to go wide receiver here if KJ Osborne was going to fall, but we will go ahead. We'll take Jacoby Myers. We'll stack him up with Jimmy Garoppolo. I feel very comfortable about that. And then also, I think we're going to go ahead. We're going to take a tight end. Actually, no, we're going to go Elijah Mitchell. I really like the Elijah Mitchell profile if we're going to be looking at a best ball format where with Elijah Mitchell, you're going to randomly get some spike weeks where he scores a touchdown, given the fact that they are split in the backfield with Christian McCaffrey now. And then also you have the premium handcuff appeal. If Christian McCaffrey were to go down, then at that point, Elijah Mitchell, you could easily see as a running back 1 in fantasy. So I really like Elijah Mitchell, the player. Maybe running back didn't make the most sense for that team in particular with where we stood so far in the roster, but I just think in comparison to the other talents on the board, kind of had to go ahead and take him. Okay. So with this team, quarterback, we have Deshaun Watson, Trey Lance, Anthony Richardson. Running back, we have Breece Hall, Tyler Algier, James Conner. Wide receiver, we have Jamar Chase, Quentin Johnston, Michael Pittman, Elijah Moore, Quentin Johnston, Garrett Wilson. I don't know what we said. Tight end, we have Kyle Pitts. Let's just shut it and let's just draft it. Roschon's definitely a pick. The question is, do we go Darnell Mooney? I think we're going to pass on Darnell Mooney here. If this was a tournament on Underdog, I definitely would take him. But with this being cumulative scoring, I think it makes a little more sense to get the quarterback that can start at the beginning of the season and just hopefully provide us some points, especially if maybe Anthony Richardson isn't starting week 1. Maybe Trey Lance doesn't start. I mean, I'm praying to God he does, but it's always a possibility. Colin says, what do you think of the S2 test? It made Stroud look pretty bad. Yeah, so he scored like in the 18th percentile or something along those lines. 18% on the test and way lower than everybody else. In reality, I have no idea what the test is. I have seen no historical data about the test at all. I think NFL talent evaluators, NFL teams, the people who are going through and using this test, they will have a much better take on it than I do. And that's why we're listening to what they tell us. That's why we're going to look at where these guys go in the NFL draft. If CJ Stroud falls outside the top 10 picks or falls outside the top 5 picks, you better believe it's probably something we should be concerned about. If he still goes, say, at pick 2 to the Houston Texans, which most likely won't happen, but if it does, or maybe a team trades up to grab him at 2 or at 3, then I'm not going to be worried about the test. I'm really just going to listen to what the NFL talent evaluators tell us when I just have no idea what to take away with that there. Okay. Now, Alan Lazard, Irv Smith Jr., both go off the board, 157, 158. Real quick, if you have not done so already, please go down there, drop a like on this live stream, and set a reminder on your phone. I need you to set that reminder to make sure before the draft, when we are on the red carpet. We're not going to be on the red carpet during the draft itself. It's going to be before the draft. You go to the channel, you tune in when we have the chance to interview these guys and ask them your questions. So please, please, please make sure you are not missing that. I mean, you're the reason that we got there, and I want you to be there experiencing with me. Okay. Now, Tyler Higbee goes 165, Michael Mayer 164. In this kind of format, I would definitely prefer Tyler Higbee over Michael Mayer, 100%. Jalen Hyatt went 158, Darnell Mooney 159. Pound says, enjoy it, my man. Looking forward to watching. Thank you. Okay, Conjure Miller, Jeff Wilson, Tajay Spears. So we can't take quarterback anymore. That's kind of out of our wheelhouse. We are currently rolling with Jalen Hurts, Matthew Stafford, Jimmy G, and Mac Jones. This is a team where we need wide receiver. There's nothing else we can say. This team is in desperate need for some wide receivers to come in and provide production. Adam Thielen off the board, 165. Romeo Dobbs, 166. Devin Achane. So we're going to go ahead. We are definitely going to take Jalen Hyatt, someone who should go borderline round 1, round 2 of this year's NFL draft, get on the field immediately. After that, it gets a little more difficult because it's best ball. I'm going to go ahead. We are going to take Donovan Peoples-Jones here, who still does have some big play potential. I mean, yes, you have Elijah Moore coming over, which should impact the target share that you're going to get from Donovan Peoples-Jones in this offense. But at the same time, if you're looking at the way that those two wide receivers operate on the field, they're pretty much playing two completely different positions. If you have them standing side by side, they look like two completely different players. So I'm going to be fine taking them there. Brandon says, Mason, are you nervous to be interviewing everyone? I'm terrified, my friend. I am terrified. Margaret Word says, ask the players who they are most afraid they'll have to tackle. Ooh, that's a good one. I know there was this viral tweet that happened a few years ago that was like, Would you rather try to tackle Lamar Jackson or Derrick Henry? Like you have $1 million to bring down one guy on your own. Are you going Lamar Jackson or Derrick Henry? I'm going to write that down. We have a list every time I can come up with a question or I see a good question in like the comment section that y'all want. I throw it on the list that we have. 4 million. Are you choosing to tackle Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson? Okay. Here are my questions so far. Let me know what y'all think. Okay. I don't know if I want to give you all of them. We have about 30 here that we are going to ask. I don't even know if we want to say these. Okay. Do we want to say this? Do y'all want to hear some of the questions? Because keep in mind, what we're going to do is we're going to live stream this, and we're also going to be recording like YouTube Shorts and TikToks and everything like that at the same time. So each one of these questions is with that in mind, that it's going to be its own little video. Brian says, Mason, how fast are you 40? What do we need to get you? Go look up Flock Fantasy NFL Combine, and I've already done it, my friend. Wandell Robinson, DJ Chark. Okay, a couple funny ideas, at least that I think they're funny in my mind, just because they would be so preposterous if we did to the guys there. If we went through and went up to them, like if say Bijan Robinson came over and we were going to ask some questions, if we just go truth or dare, say something dumb like that, or go, okay, we're going to play Never Have I Ever. Get your fingers out. I think those are a little funny. I mean, we have some things like best pickup lines, question mark. What is your biggest weakness? How old were you when you knew you were going to the NFL, or maybe / the moment you knew you were going to the NFL? Biggest challenge you've overcome to get here. Biggest personal weakness. I guess we already have that. Okay. Let's find our next guy. We'll go ahead. We'll take 2 tight ends here. We'll go with Irv Smith Jr. as well as Gerald Everett. Pairing them up with Kyle Pitts, be the only tight ends that we're going to have to take the rest of this draft. We were going to take 3 and then be done with that. Okay. Brandon says, who's their role model? It seems like most people are telling us to ask that. The thing is, with questions like that, I'm just thinking in my mind, how many times are they going to be asked that, like, that day, right? In reality, how many times are they going to be asked, who do you model your playing style after? Who do you appreciate most in the NFL? Who do you want to... I think that's like the most basic... I could be wrong, though. Maybe they don't get asked that very often. I like both those. I have this one down, Mason. I like the personal goals one. I'm going to put that one down as well. Okay, so I think we may end up going back-to-back tight ends here as well. F it. Let's just do it. We'll go ahead. We'll take Gesicki. We'll take Dalton Kincaid, and then not have to worry about taking another tight end. We took George Kittle as one of our other guys. So it'll just be running back and wide receiver from there on out. Gucci Broomstick says, okay, I like that one. Where do you see your career in 5 years? Another question I have is, if you were not going to be an NFL player, if you were not going to get drafted to the NFL, what would your career be? I like it. So let's go. See your career in 5 years. Good question. I like the off the field goals as well. Perfect. These are the best questions I've had. A lot of the questions in the comment section so far have just been about the same. I'm feeling a little bit better about the questions that we have now. I could not get close to 4.7. So if you pull up that NFL Combine video that we did a few years back, It's embarrassing how slow we were. I'll say since then, we actually have ran a little bit more. I mean, I ran a marathon like a month or two ago. We didn't train for it, but we ran it. But what you will be impressed about is that I weigh 160 pounds in the video and bench 225 for 12. See, I've been doing this, James. I've been trying to go through and research every player. There is way less information on these guys in their personal lives than you would assume. Like, you do the research and it's like the same fact pops up over and over and over again. One person reports that Will Anderson loves to fish, and then everything you'll ever look up about Will Anderson and interesting facts is he likes to fish. He likes to fish. He likes to fish. And you're like, oh, yeah, I kind of already got that. Okay. So that was my initial thing as well. Going, okay, we're going to do the research. We're going to go through and we are going to figure out exactly what we should be asking these guys and some interesting facts about them. But there are not many out there. Yeah, I mean, it is a little painful, my man. Yeah, for the wide receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, I have a much better idea of what we're going to be asking those guys. Like, I have like 10 questions I feel like we can go through and ask each and every one of those players. But it's more like the defensive guys where I'm having a little bit of a tougher time going through and coming up with questions. Ooh, I like this one, Colin. I like this one. Putting this one down here. I like this one. Let's see. Stuff like this, I don't know if I can ask, to be honest. Like, I feel like it's going to be a little bit tough. Like, I'm the same age as some of these guys that are going to be drafted, you know, so. And I mean, we're going to be like a fantasy football YouTube channel there. It's not like we're NFL Network. I don't know how wild we can get with our questions and how, I don't want to say that it's like attacking them, but like, I don't know how much we can be putting these guys on the spot, if that makes sense. We're definitely taking Tyquan Thornton. The only thing I'm trying to figure out is who else we're taking. Tyquan Thornton's the easiest pick ever here. Probably another wide receiver. We have Stafford. Do we go Van Jefferson to get the stack? Claypool's also in play. We'll go Van Jefferson. We'll stack up Matthew Stafford with him. And then we're going to go ahead. We are going to queue up a running back for our last pick. We honestly maybe shouldn't have tapped. It is what it is. Let's go ahead and we'll queue up another RB and then swing to the other draft. Oh, we are on the clock in the other league. Okay, so, Josh Downs, the easiest pick ever. Thank you for that one. After Josh Downs, I feel like we're going to need a running back for looking at these RBs. I mean, maybe we go Chuba Hubbard, and we'll just take him. Who the hell cares? We just definitely need another running back. I mean, Chuba Hubbard, Jerome Ford, Jarrett McKinnon, James Robinson. What's the difference between these guys? Go ahead. We'll take a running back here. So we have 4 QBs, 5 RBs, 6 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, and we have 2 more picks in this one. Okay, so looks like we're pretty much done with both these drafts. Let me go ahead and let me show off the board in both of these. We just hang out, and maybe y'all can give me some solid questions for what we should be including in that live stream when we're actually out there on the red carpet and asking these guys some questions. Okay, so here is one of the teams, and here is the other squad. I think both are okay. Keep in mind, it's very specific for this being a Superflex private draft on Underdog, how we decide to go through and build both these teams this way. Okay. Hey, says, do you know how much time you'll have with each player on the red carpet? I have no idea, my friend. We're going to try to get as much time as we can, but it's going to be difficult. Oscar, maybe we can do this. If we run out of questions, I like this one. Ooh, this is a great question as well. Yeah, Gucci Broomstick, I already have this one down, just worded in a different way. Ooh, this is a good question as well. I like it, Ryan. I feel like maybe this is similar to the question that we got earlier on, which is asking what their off the field goals were. But I think maybe that's going to be it for this live stream. Ooh, this is a good one. I love this. Guess your ADP. Oh, this is a good question. Guess your ADP in fantasy drafts. And then we can go through Bijan Robinson and say, are you being drafted higher or lower than Saquon Barkley? Higher or lower than Austin Eckler? Ooh, that's a good one. Mason says, if you're a shoe guy yourself, you could ask him your favorite shoe. I mean, I would do this if I knew anything about shoes. My shoe style is grab the cheapest one. Yeah. But I think that's going to be it for this live stream. Again, thank you so much for being a member of the flock and supporting the channel. If you have not done so already, go down there. Drop a like on this bad boy. And if you want to get one of these drafts with us, of course, you can find the link in the live chat, find it in the comment section. Go use promo code FLOCK when you sign up for Underdog. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100, so it's pretty much free for you to check out. But thank you so much for everything, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate you. Really hope you have a great Sunday, and I better see you Thursday before the draft on the red carpet on this YouTube channel. But thank you again for everything, and really hope you have a great day.